guys remember a couple weeks ago, maybe well during the calf season, so it's been more than a couple weeks ago, but during the calf season, we had Tim Shire of the Lake County Sentinel with us as a guest to talk some Cleveland Cavaliers, but we're going to have him as a guest co-host today to talk a little bit of Browns with us, to talk some Guardians, to possibly talk some Cavs, and some get back to some AP top 25 if we can get back to that. So a lot to talk about. And Tim, what's up, man? How you doing today, sir? Super glad to have you on the show. How are you?
Really good. Thanks for having me, Rachel. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm super excited. How you doing over there in Lake County?
Not bad. We just got to have a lot of rain, but
Yeah.
we're doing good over here.
Yeah, when I got in the car, it was drizzling a little bit. So I was wondering, if the skies were going to open up or what it was going to do. So I'm kind of sick of the rain. I'm ready for it to
Me
just
too.
be a nice day.
Yeah, I'm sick of it too.
Yeah, so the Cleveland Guardians are about to start playing in about 9 minutes. So first pitch, 6:10 against the Cincinnati Reds. So the Battle of Ohio is officially about to begin. I wonder why it's just a 2-game series. Why do they do that? It's very rare that they do a 2-game series. But do you know why it's a 2-game series? And then also when the Reds come here, it's also a 2-game series.
Yeah, they changed it several years back because they didn't want to interfere with like the American League schedule and
Mm-hmm.
the National League schedule for the Reds. So they cut it to 2 games. Like the White Sox and Cubs played two-game series too, and
Oh,
they
okay.
leave the Mets and Yankees also.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense to me. I think you could get a 3-game series in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't even realize that. Now that I was just sitting up there thinking, I'm like, well, they faced Cincinnati twice, and it's only a 2-game series both time that they face them. So, something like that, you need to make it a 3-game series. So I'm not really understanding that.
Yeah, exactly. Like the one year I remember they played in Cincinnati and then in Cleveland the next series. Like they went
Hmm.
right.
Oh
They had
yeah.
it, I don't know. Major League Baseball, if there's one thing consistent every year, the scheduling's crazy.
Rob Manfred, get on it. I don't know what you got, what
Uh,
kind of establishment you running over there, but you need to get it together over there, man.
yeah, that's scheduling. I mean, like I'm glad though the last few years Cleveland's opened on the West Coast or in a warm
Hmm.
weather place because it
Why?
makes no sense to open here.
Mm-hmm. Oh
You know,
yeah, okay, that makes sense now that you think about it.
yeah,
But did they were they open out here this season? Was it Seattle that they opened up?
Seattle, yeah, yeah.
Okay. But
So
what isn't Seattle like kind of rainy that time of year though
yeah, but they
too
have
in
a
the
dome.
spring?
They have a dome.
Oh yeah, okay.
They
I
can open and
completely forgot
close
about
it.
that.
Yeah,
Okay, I completely forgot about
I
that.
think if they, I can't understand when dome teams or warm weather teams don't open at home to start the season. Makes no
Mm-hmm.
sense. Detroit and Cleveland are at home, and Tampa Bay and the Angels are on the road. It just doesn't make sense. But that's
Mm-hmm.
baseball.
Yeah, and yeah, and now that you mention it, it should kind of be front loaded, in warm weather places, especially
Yeah,
those, tumultuous times instead of, places where, it could kind of be similar to us. So I think that you're on to something there, Tim.
yeah. I don't know. You would think they would take that into consideration when they
Mm-hmm.
make the schedule, but I don't know. It was the same thing when I covered minor league baseball for all those years. There would be, you know, a team from the South Atlantic League when Lake County Captains were in the South Atlantic League, they would come up and play the first series at Lake County when
Mm-hmm.
they were from Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
It made no sense.
Yeah, and the weather is crazy here at that time of year, especially for the Cleveland Guardians. It could be beautiful 1 minute and then drop 40 degrees the next. So
Yeah,
George Mendicky says Seattle does not have a dome. At one time they played in the Kingdom, but now they play at an open air place called
it's a
T-Mobile Park.
it's a retractable, isn't it?
George, is it retractable?
I thought it was retractable.
Because is the football stadium a retractable dome?
I'm not sure about the football, but I'm pretty sure that where the Mariners play now is retractable. They get so much rain. They could
Hmm.
never have a stadium where you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It rains there
absolutely.
so much.
Especially during baseball season, you never be able to get a game in.
Oh
So
yeah. April and
yeah.
May would be, yeah.
Have you ever been to Seattle before?
I never have, but I hear it's really great. I have some
Yeah.
friends that lived there for a while, and
Hmm.
they just loved it.
Yeah, I heard so too. I have a cousin that lives in Portland, and I was like, I need to get out to Portland to see him because he talks about moving back to Ohio one day. So I'm like, I need to get out to Portland to see him because I'm never going to have a reason to go. And he was like, when I come out to Portland to visit him, um, he was like, we'll ride up to Seattle so I can get a chance to see Seattle. But I just had a friend who graduated from a college, and it's one of those colleges where you can pick where you want to graduate from, and she chose to graduate from Seattle. So
Wow.
she said it was really beautiful there and she really enjoyed her time there. So that's one place that I got to get to. So maybe I'll do it, maybe I'll go to a Seattle versus Guardians series or something like that since, we don't play the Seattle Seahawks that often and Seattle has no basketball team. So, maybe that might be one way I can get a chance to get out to Seattle. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, I hear it's a great place. I mean, I know Joe Tate when they had the Supersonics. I know that was his favorite city to go to because they have a lot of trains there, and he
Oh,
was
really?
big into trains. Yeah, and
Oh,
that was his favorite city. He loved going to Seattle.
oh, okay.
So yeah, it's just I guess it's like here. The weather's a lot like here, but there's more rain, and it doesn't get as cold in the winter, from what I hear.
Oh, it's a 6:40 start.
Oh, is it? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Tampa Bay has some odd starting times. I've noticed. Maybe that's why people don't come. I don't know.
Yeah, so the Guardians and because I was about to go to, the little pitch by pitch thing, and it looks like the start tomorrow is start today at 6:40, and then it starts tomorrow at 6:40 as well. So
Okay.
okay, yeah. And
Well,
then
I see Pat Tabler's on tonight with um, instead of Rick Manning.
yeah. Oh really? Oh,
He's
okay.
taking the series off.
Yeah, and then sometimes he's on with Jensen, not Jensen, but he's on with Al as well. So
Yeah, yeah.
seeing a little bit more of him, a little bit, this season, as well as Ellis Burks getting in and co-hosting with him as well. So that's kind of cool to see some Indian/Guardians alum, back
Yeah.
doing, back
And,
helping out with the team now.
and Chris Jimenez too.
Hmm.
He's done a little bit with him, and yeah, I go way back with him. I've known him since 2008 when
Oh, really?
he played for Lake County. Played two
Yeah.
years there. Played 1 year as a catcher, 1 year as a third baseman. Real good guy. Real good guy. Nice baseball guy. He really knows what he's talking about. And it's a tough life as a catcher in Major League Baseball.
Yeah. Okay. So George said he read on MLB.com that Seattle has a retractable dome but doesn't cover the entire park. It's
Oh,
something modern.
yeah.
So
So that's at least it covers the field so they can play.
yeah. And the fans probably get soaked, but they should be used to Seattle. So let's talk some Guardians since we
All
started
right.
out talking some Guardians. Let's go ahead and get into it. So, Tim, let me know, and this is something that we've talked about, on this show, due to the recent trades and the way this team has been playing. Have they mailed it in this season? This is season over. Is there any chance that they're possibly catching Minnesota at all?
Well, my opinion is they still have a chance to catch them because you gain a game a week, you win the division. But my thought is the players and Francona have not mailed it in because I don't
Okay.
think Francona would ever mail it in. But I think that Chris Antonetti and Mike Chernoff definitely mailed it in
Okay.
because you don't trade the guy who's arguably been your best pitcher this year. Well, now Tanner Bybee is, but Aaron Savali, and if you're going to trade him, you got to get something for him that's going to help now, and they didn't. They got a first baseman who might be up next year, or he might not be.
Hmm.
So to me, that was mailing it in,
Hmm.
and I think also you don't have to fly down to the city your team is playing in to talk to the team, before the game.
Hmm.
If you didn't do something that looked like you mailed it in. And I
Hmm.
think, for a young team to do that he sent a bad message.
Hmm.
I think Chris Antonetti sent a bad message. And honestly, I feel like, and I could be totally wrong about this, but I feel like Francona wasn't on board,
Okay.
and I feel like he very possibly could retire.
Really?
I feel like this might be the time. Yeah, I think
Wow.
that.
That's a bold proclamation,
Yeah,
Tim. It's a
I said
bold
it last
prediction,
week on my
buddy.
I said it last week on my show, and I even wrote a commentary about it right after
Okay.
the trade deadline because I feel like this goes against what Francona believes. Like
Hmm.
he's there to compete every day,
Hmm.
and that's not the message they sent.
And it's already a struggle for him with the low payroll that this team has as well, too. So to compete against all these other teams, but in baseball, it's always a 50-50 situation. If you have a high payroll, whether or not you win a World Series, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to do that. And then you've seen teams, like the Tampa. I was about to say Tampa Bay Rays. What do they used to be called? The Devil Rays.
Devil Rays, yeah,
Almost said the Devil Rays, but you look at their payroll when they made the World Series against the Dodgers, right? And their payroll, I think
yeah.
that they were the next team above the Cleveland Guardians. So I hate when teams like that show it can work because I'm like all it does is give Chris Antonetti more ammunition for the reason why he don't got to pay nobody. So I hate when
Well,
teams like that do that type of stuff.
well, I also think that there is the small market thing is real, but I think they sometimes use it as an excuse too much.
Absolutely, it's a crutch for them.
Yeah, and my thing is too right now is they've been telling us for years, we have all these prospects. We're going to be loaded. And honestly, I saw a lot of these prospects and they are loaded. But you got to give these guys a chance to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they've done that. You play them every day. You got to play a guy every day.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Freeman, I believe, has 82 at bats, and he's been up since I think April.
Mm-hmm.
That's not enough at bats for a young guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then Gabriel Arias, when he disappeared for like 3 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're playing him because they traded Ahmed Rosario.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that they have all these prospects, and it's almost like they don't know what to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah, what did they say? The expression about all the riches or whatever. You know what expression I'm talking
yeah,
about, though, right?
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that now you got too many players and you can't play them, so you don't get a chance to see. And then when Tyler Freeman gets in there, and you're like, well, and he doesn't hit the ball, you're like, well, he sucks.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, well, and I think that was Arias's problem. You
Yeah.
know, they don't. He played like twice a week for a while there, and people expected him to come through when there's bases loaded when he hasn't swung a bat in a
Mm-hmm.
game in 2 weeks. That's really
Mm-hmm.
a lot to ask of any player, but really a young guy. And
Mm-hmm.
I just think this winter they have to trade. They have to make trade. They have to trade some of these prospects. They have to so they can go into next season with a lineup that's going to play every day. That they know is going to play every day.
And let me ask you this. Do you think that one of the things why they were so eager to bring prospects up is the success of 14 prospects last year and what those prospects were able to help this team do, which is make it to the playoffs? Do you think that they thought that they catch lightning in a bottle again this season by doing that? I don't really think it's panned out that much, but you think that was what they were hoping to do?
Well, I think so. I think, and let's face it, some of those guys, excuse me, some of those guys, didn't start off well. Like Oscar Gonzalez struggled early and got sent to
Mm-hmm.
Columbus. Um, Gabriel Arias, I think, I just don't think they had a real plan. You know, you can't. They should have traded Ahmed Rosario last winter,
No.
and then they could have played. They could have had one of these guys start right from opening day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was just. I don't think they had a real plan going into this season. That's what it feels like to me. that they didn't have a real plan going into the season. We'll just see how it goes. And everybody pretty much picked them to win the division, and they've struggled. I mean, they're under 500.
Mightily.
Don't, you could still be in the playoff race, but the fact you're under 500 on August 15th, that's never good. And they're wasting great pitching.
Woo! That start by Gavin Williams last week where they had 12 strikeouts and nothing to show for it.
Exactly. Woo. And, Tanner Bybee, I feel like if Tanner Bybee was pitching right now for the Yankees or the Dodgers, he would be maybe the front runner, if not right in there for Rookie of the Year. But he's not going to win it with the Guardians.
Absolutely not.
He's pitching great too. He's pitching like a veteran. Williams, you can still see he's a rookie, but Bybee is pitching like a veteran. He goes out there like a veteran, and it's very impressive.
Yeah,
him last year at Lake County.
Yeah, and then on Sunday, he was impressive in that 9-2 victory, over Tampa Bay. How about those heartbreakers over the weekend? I didn't get a chance to see Friday night's game. So Friday night, they were down the whole game, right? And did they come back?
Tied it up.
Okay, they tied it up and then
in the top of the ninth, and then lost it in the bottom of the ninth.
Okay, and who was pitching at that point? Do you remember?
That was not Clase on Friday.
That was Saturday where he blew the save.
Yeah, I don't know. I cannot remember who was in on Friday.
Yeah, because remember Angel De Los Santos blew Gavin Williams 12 strikeout game. So he got in there, and his ERA is like under 3. So I was a little disappointed when he got in there and kind of blew that save. And Gavin Williams had one heck of a game, and unfortunately, our bullpen is letting us down. One of the instances.
Well, and I'm not surprised that it is. It's been overworked.
Yeah.
I think Francona has overworked the bullpen, but also having these young pitchers too, like Logan Allen, well, he's not a young pitcher, but Cal Quantrill, you have to go 6 innings. And these guys are lucky to go 4. Allen's been better since he came back up. But Quantrill, if you got 6 innings, if they got 6 innings out of Quantrill, I'd do cartwheels down my drive. Because
how about 6 good innings out of Cal?
Well, yeah, that's true. I guess I can't expect both. He's so frustrating to watch. This guy is not a rookie. This guy's been around now for a while. And I feel like he pitches scared almost sometimes. Like he's afraid of contact. But, you have 3 Gold Glovers behind you. Let the guys hit the ball. He nibbles way too much. I've never liked the nibbler. And he nibbles way too much. And I think that's why he throws way too many pitches and doesn't go deep into games. And then, you have to use 3-4 relievers. And that taxes the bullpen.
Yeah, he's also struggling with his location and struggling with his command as well. So, Tim, we're going to go ahead and take a break. That 15 minutes passed kind of quick. So we're going to go ahead and take a break. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
The Gospel Music Historical Society presents Cleveland's Gospel Music Awards All-White Gala, Sunday, August 6th. At the Cleveland Marriott East, 26300 Harvard Avenue in Northville Heights. Doors open at 4 p.m. and dinner starts at 5. This glorious Cleveland Gospel Star-studded event is where you want to be, celebrating and honoring the best of Cleveland gospel music. Author and Fox 8 News anchor Jasmine Bailey is your host for this all-white affair, complete with food, fellowship, fantastic music, and of course, the award. You voted, and the results are in for the categories of Male and Female Group of the Year, Solo Artist of the Year, Radio Host of the Year, and more, including the coveted Song of the Year with nominees Blessed Hope Missionary Baptist Church for Thank You, Faith Hairston and the Chosen Vessels for Blessed in My Storm, Linda Williams for Heaven, Mary Glover for Over Chili Jordan, Sensational Saints for Fellow Man, and Spiritual Believers for On the Right Road. I'm on the right road now. Also, the Epoch of Triumph Lifetime Achievement Award, recognizing the contributions of Pastor David Watt, Pastor John Twyman, the evangelistic team, the late Mrs. Gertrude Ribbons, and the late Reverend Earl Preston. For more information, visit www.gmhs1.org. That's www.gmhs1.org or call 216-513-4668. 216-513-4668. Cleveland's Gospel Music Awards All-White Gala, 5 p.m. Sunday, August 6th at the Cleveland Marriott East in Warrensville Heights. This message is brought to you by the Gospel Music Historical Society and 95.9 FM WOVU, Our Voices United, Burton Bell Carr Community Radio. Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle, WOVU, a 95.9 FM. Make sure you always keep it locked right here on your regular radio dial at 95.9 FM. You can always download that WOVU app so you can listen to us on the go. You can also listen to us online at WOVU.org. And you can always contact the station with any questions, comments, concerns at 216-271-0959. And I'm with Tim Shire today of the Lake County Sentinel. And we were discussing a little bit of Guardians, and George says that the Twinks are not exactly gangbusters the way they're playing. So right before we went to break, we talked about, how last year you had 14 players come up and kind of immediately impact and contribute to help this team get to the playoffs. And right now we're really not having that. And then also George let us know on Friday was Nick Sandlin. So not surprised in the least bit that it was Nick Sandlin that caused us to lose the game. So, I don't like his sidewinding pitch, that he does, and they call it submarine style pitching, is it?
Yeah. He's a submarine.
I'm not a fan of that, and he also has. Go ahead.
They drafted him out of college, and he moved up pretty quick. And I don't know. Mm-hmm. I feel like he won't be in the bullpen next year. I feel like they might move him.
Move him where? To a different team?
Trade him. Yeah, I think so. I just don't think, they worked with him. Obviously, he's been in the system. So mm-hmm. I just don't think he's consistent enough to be in the bullpen here.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I don't think he's made an impact like he needs to as far as the bullpen goes either. So I necessarily won't be, shocked, surprised, or saddened to see him, go ahead and move on to a different team. So
I could easily see 5 or 6 new guys in the bullpen next year.
Man, that's a whole rework of the bullpen.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
I mean, there'll be, certain guys will be here. I think Henches will be here. Clase obviously will be here. I think Morgan, I would think he would be here, and De Los Santos too. He's been pretty good. He had, he's had a couple
of struggles of late.
But every pitcher does struggle during a season, I think, at some point. So if it continues though, then that could hurt him. Being it's the end of the year too, mm-hmm. going into the off season. So, but I still think that the bullpen is very unsettled.
Mm-hmm.
And I think of the good thing is if somehow they were to make the postseason, you really only use your guys that you really count on
Mm-hmm.
in the postseason out of the bullpen. Because you can use some starters because you only use 3 starters. So you move some of those guys to the bullpen. So that might be an advantage,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. I mean, how confident are you with Cal Quantrill coming out of the bullpen?
Not at all. I'm not confident
No,
with. I'm not confident with Cal Quantrill being on anybody's mound. I
exactly.
don't know if he can be on the Lake County captain's mound.
No, I agree. I mean, I've been hard on him, and a lot of people got on me for being hard on him, but you got to show results.
It's night and day from how he pitched last season.
It is, yeah.
Is night and day. And I still, I question Terry Francona, and a lot of people say in Tito we trust, but it's very questionable to put him on the mound against the Yankees in Game 5. I'm like, that's why we lost the game. So I don't believe Tito is this genius and this know-it-all and stuff like that, because he's made decisions. I mean, I'll go back to Danny Salazar against the Rays, in that one game playoff, put him in there and we got smoked 0-4, stuff like that.
I think the one thing he's struggled with in Philadelphia, Boston, and here is the use of his bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can find periods every place he's managed where the bullpen management has been suspect. Is he great with players? Yes, he is great with players. They want to play for him. I saw the documentary, and I was never really a Dustin Pedroia fan, but Dustin Pedroia would run in front of a moving car for Terry Francona. So
What documentary?
I just want to know though. A lot of people, have said that he should retire. The game maybe's passed him by, but my thought is, who's coming in? Who's replacing?
Well, my thing is just, can he physically do it anymore?
Oh, I know.
The dude is like a tin, like the oil, like the what is it, the Tin Man on, what is it, Dorothy, Wizard of Oz? He can
Yeah.
barely move, and he's just had so many health problems over the years. It kind of reminds me a little bit like Phil Jackson, who was just shell of himself. Not a Phil Jackson fan, but using that as an analogy, where he talked about how the travel was tough on his body and stuff like that. And I thought Terry Francona would have retired maybe last season. So I'm definitely surprised every time he decides he comes back. But, you mentioned the use of his bullpen. You could think about it in 2016, how, he taxed Andrew Miller, instead of, and I don't know if I ever had this discussion with you, because I've said it, multiple times. I never understand why he didn't pitch Ryan Merritt, for a game in the World Series. Even if he got beat up a little bit, he might have lost the game, but you still had a chance to give Corey Kluber and Andrew Miller a rest with their arms, at least one day a rest, instead of pitching them, 9 times in 3 days. Crazy like that. And I'm just exaggerating, but I'll never understand that.
I think I think in that, with the pitching and the bullpen, I think he's really old school. You know what I mean? I know a lot of the new guys, the younger guys, like to use multiple pitchers and stuff like that. Go have an opener that pitches 2 innings. But I feel like Francona is one of those guys that feels like, if I can't count on this guy every day, then why is he here? And look what he did with Brian Shaw and Cody Allen, and how many relievers have left here?
Brad Hand.
And that's it. Well, he's still pitching. So he was able to escape it. But most relievers, when they leave here, that's it. They're done. Mm-hmm. But none of them will come out and say, that he
ruined their career.
Effectively ruined. Yeah. Andrew Miller was last year, and he was raving about him. And it's like,
oh, really?
The guy blew your arm out.
Mm-hmm. And lost you the 2016 World Series.
Yeah. I mean, so Michael Martinez pinch hit. He was the guy. I mean, are you kidding me? It ended with Michael Martinez. Michael Martinez. I mean, wow. Like he had a lot of faith in that guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, I there had to be somebody else on the bench. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I almost would have pinch hit. I almost would have pinch hit Josh Tomlin.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Tomlin's actually not a bad hitter.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Martinez is terrible,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how the World Series ended. That's tough. But
As you can tell, I'm still a little bitter too.
oh yeah, well, 2016 was tough. Um, for me, 97 was the one.
Mm-hmm.
That was tough for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
they were one strike away,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember saying to my mom, you know, they're going to win the World Series, and then they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So 2016 was tough, but for me, 97 was worse. 95 was tough, but that's the first time they were good in my life. So
Yeah, going against, Atlanta or Greg Maddux, and then that pitching lineup that they had, you would have thought that the Guardians would be able to do something, but the strike year was our year, unfortunately. So, that was a year that, we should have went to the World Series and won it, but unfortunately, strike ended that. So, but moving forward to this modern day, because we could talk about this forever.
yeah.
I can go back to the 80s when they were terrible, but
Oh,
I still was able to find the bright spot, in the
I love
80s
going
when
to
they
the stadium.
were terrible. So what do you think about hitting, the lack of hitting that's taking place? Because you said you think we can catch Minnesota, but we have a gauntlet coming up as far as the schedule goes. We don't have the easiest schedule with what's left for us.
I mean, think about it. They were in every game in Tampa.
Yeah,
They
they were
scored in Tampa.
competitive.
They scored in Tampa.
Yeah.
They did. They, split with the Blue Jays.
Mm-hmm.
And they shut down the Blue Jays, which was very impressive. So I'm not so. I almost feel like they played better against better teams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. I'll tell you what worries me coming up is they're coming home playing Detroit for 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was watching Detroit over the weekend, and they are much better than they were.
Mm-hmm.
But the offense, I just feel like the offense has potential to be pretty good, but they're so streaky, and I don't know if it's because they're young, and with Naylor out, that really hurts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
a huge blow and hole.
It's huge. That's huge. And I mean, he's really the engine that drives the team, him and Jose. And with missing him, it couldn't have come at a worse time. If it happened in May, okay, you got several months to recover. But it happened in August, and he's probably not going to be back until the last 2 weeks at the earliest.
Mm-hmm.
So that's tough. I really like some of the young guys. I really like Tyler Freeman. I wish he would get more playing time. I think Arias, he's had a wake up moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think that benching for like 3 weeks when he was in the doghouse and it was only pinch running, I think that really might have woke him up. He seems like he's more, I don't know, like I feel like watching him now is he's giving a full effort now, where I don't think he was before, and that's why he's benched. It had to be. I mean, Francona will not play a guy who is not giving a full effort.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the early things I heard when he came up, and Jose talked to him and stuff like that. But there's potential there. Oscar Gonzalez, there's potential. Mm-hmm. And you know what? He's going to go through streaks where he's hit 358 in August. Yeah. Okay. So
it doesn't seem like it, though. It really doesn't. But
hitting home runs. He hasn't been hitting home runs. And I think that's, people expect home runs out of him.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he's a power hitter. So he's going to go through streaks. He needs to lay off that outside pitch.
Mm-hmm.
That is his kryptonite, that outside. if I could throw 3 pitches outside and low, I probably could strike him out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's crazy.
I might be able to do that too if I had the speed.
Yeah,
Because
it's like
he gonna swing at anything.
I don't even think it has to be fast. Can't reach it. And I love Oscar Gonzalez. When he was at Lake County, he was such a nice guy. He's the kind of guy you want around. He's just positive every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Smiling, always happy. And I really like to see him succeed because he's a good guy. And Bo Naylor, he's going to hit. I'll go as far out on a limb right now as to say, Bo Naylor, if he doesn't, he will come close next year to hitting 300, and he'll hit 20 home runs.
Okay.
He's that kind of guy.
All right, Tim coming through with another bold prediction. I like that. Tim, we got to go ahead and take another quick break. We're going to be right back. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back. 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Make them know your name foundation will kick off the season with pop-up in the park featuring former member of the Grammy-nominated R&B duo Floetry, English singer-songwriter and national recording artist Marsha Ambrosia performing live. Pop-up in the park Saturday, August 26th at Bonavich Park, behind the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and next to the Cleveland Browns Stadium, 800 East 9th Street Pier. Event starts at 3 p.m. The big cardiologist, known as Dr. Hackett, that will answer any questions you have related to heart health and the importance of CPR and AEDs. Free demonstrations and training will be also given. We have an amazing fireworks display sponsored by Union Home Mortgage. We got food trucks, activities for all, special guests, live performance by Sultry Unit Band, 95.9 FM. DJ Christop's music director will provide the sounds along with his DJ friends. This event is free. However, tickets are required to access all of the fun and festivities that will be happening in Bonavich Park. You must register and get tickets for entry into the park. Tickets are available on the Make Them Know Your Name website. That's mtkyn.org. Click the events tab. mtkyn.org. Click on the events tab. Again, this event is free. Bring your blankets, lawn chairs, friends, family, and community, and meet me at the pop-up in the park. This message was brought to you by Make Them Know Your Name Foundation and WOVU 95.9 FM, Burkeville Car Community Radio. Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. I got a special guest co-host with me, Tim Shire of the Lake County Sentinels. We were just talking Sentinel, excuse me, not a team. I said Sentinels, individual paper. So Tim, so glad that you're here co-hosting with me. We were just talking a lot of Guardians. Let's talk a little bit of NFL. So what were your thoughts about the Browns on Friday night versus the Washington Commanders and Jacoby Brissett?
Well, I'll tell you, I was glad to see Brissett do well because he's a good guy. I think the Browns, there is a lot of potential to be good. There really is. We got a good set of receivers right now. I think Amari Cooper. I believe Amari Cooper is already a Hall of Famer. I think he's really good. And Donovan Peoples-Jones. If he steps up, I think he's that number two. You need a number two to take the pressure off the number one.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have that, I think it makes it difficult on your number one guy.
Mm-hmm.
And Anthony Schwartz, hey, let's hold on to the ball. And, because he's got speed. We know that.
Do you see my eyes right now?
What's that?
You said, do you see my eyes right now? How big they are? Anthony Schwartz needs to be gone in the first round of cuts
Well,
for this team.
yeah, I think I have a bad feeling like if he gets cut, he's going to go somewhere else and he's going to succeed. I always think back with receivers to, and it's a long way. It goes a long way back, but most people don't even know that Steve Largent was in training camp with the Houston Oilers,
Okay.
and they cut him, and Seattle picked him up, and that ended up pretty well for them. So I'm not ready to give up on Anthony Schwartz yet, because I'll tell you what, I think David Njoku had the drops early on, and now he's become pretty solid. If he could stay healthy, he's become pretty solid. So I just think that sometimes you can't give up on receivers, so early. And he hasn't played a lot with Deshaun Watson yet. So, maybe the more he plays with him, the more successful he'll be. But, the Browns have had a lot of bad luck with receivers, so they have.
Tim, I appreciate your positivity, but Anthony Schwartz sucks.
Okay.
He needs to be gone. He can't run the ball. He can't hold on to the ball. He can't catch the ball. What can he do? Steve Largent at least had talent. And Anthony Schwartz has shown us from the very beginning that he literally has no talent other than speed. I understand you can't coach speed, but you got to be able to catch the ball. You got to be able to hold on to the ball. And I think that this regime don't want to say that they failed, because you could say the same thing about Dredrick Wills, not getting rid of him. Is he a failure? Quite possibly he could be. But, if they get rid of these draft picks, usually you have 3 or 4 years to, see what is coming out of these guys. You got 3 or 4 years, to see, who they're really going to be. And this is Anthony Schwartz's third year. And I don't believe anything positive about this guy. I'm sorry. I'm sure he's out there, giving it his best. And that's what Kevin Stefanski says, he's giving it his all this other stuff. But it has not improved. If anything, it's got worse. And I think that this regime has, some type of pride complex where they don't want to admit, yeah, we messed up. Let's cut them. Let's move on. And let's bring in somebody here who's actually going to help contribute to the game. And I don't know if it's a confidence thing with Anthony Schwartz too. He feels that when he gets the ball, he has to do something. He can't do anything with it when he gets it. I don't know, but I feel like he's not going to be a contributor on this team. So I think it's best to cut our losses and let him go be with another team and possibly be successful with them, because he's not going to be successful for the Cleveland Browns. And I'm calling it right now. I hate to be that way. I'm not a negative Nancy. And if I'm wrong, I want to be wrong. But he doesn't have a career with the Cleveland Browns going forward.
All right. Well, we'll see. And you could be right. I mean, I'll tell you who concerns me the most.
Who?
I think people were ready to build a statue when they drafted him, but Cade York.
Oh yeah, we got some concerns there.
Yeah, there's some definite concerns there.
Fourth round pick.
And that's another one. They seem like they don't want to admit that he's not the guy.
But are we giving up on him too soon? This is only year 2 for Anthony Schwartz. Is year 3, so I feel like we have a bigger sample size. I feel like with Cade York, it's only year 2, and these are the struggles you take when you have a rookie kicker.
But how much can a kicker improve? You know what I mean? Like, he's missed. The excuses were, well, it was windy down there today. It's really wind swirls at the state. Well, he's missed kicks in warm weather.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember it being bad weather at the Hall of Fame game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And he missed the kick this week again. I've never been on board with him.
Okay.
And
even after he hit the game winner against the Carolina Panthers to win that game 1,
he did
against Baker Mayfield.
And what has he done since?
We thought he was going to be the next great thing.
Really. And I think that was a little more emotion there because he hit the game-winning. Like you said, he hit the game-winning kick to beat Baker Mayfield. So emotions were high that day. So, they pretty much, he was George Blanda that day. But he hasn't proven anything since, and I think it's just been, It's an uphill struggle, and who knows? A lot of times, kickers, it takes 2 or 3 teams before they're good.
Mm-hmm.
I've let you know, and people that know me know that I'm a Buccaneers fan. I was very disappointed when they cut Matt Gay after his rookie year, and he went on. The Rams signed him then, and it was a different atmosphere, and he kicked great for the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it might be hard for Cade York to recover. And we're also a city where it's been so long since they've won, since they've been good consistently. There's a lot of pressure on guys here.
Mm-hmm.
There really is. And I think that, it's I think it gets in guys' heads sometimes.
Yeah, George had made a comment back on baseball saying, I'm hoping we can compete with the Twinks, meaning we play them 6 times in 9 days, with 3 coming up this month, coming up the month in Minneapolis. And then he had a football comment. He said, bring some kickers to compete against KU, or give them something to think about. And that's something that,
Exactly.
people have been talking about too. There's no competition in training camp either. So you're just giving him the job. But, you
Yes.
want him to be focused. So if he thinks he has a job, well, I'm gonna really go out there and put all that effort in there. If I know I got the job, if I ain't competing against somebody to make these kicks.
That's true, but he struggled last season. So you don't bring anybody in to compete?
Mm-hmm.
That's concerning for me. And I feel like it's almost another thing, like you said, with Anthony Schwartz. They don't want to admit they were wrong. And I feel sometimes like Kevin Stefanski and the front office is similar to the Guardians front office, where I'm the smartest guy in the room and you're not going to tell me I'm wrong.
Mm.
And when things go bad, they have a lot of explaining to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like the trade deadline, Chris Antonetti had a lot of explaining to do. And Andrew Berry, if Cade York keeps missing field goals and they don't cut him, he's going to have a lot to answer to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, their jobs is on the line, especially Kevin Stefanski this year.
Oh, I think all three. I think those two. Yeah, their jobs are definitely on the line this year. If they don't make the playoffs, or let's say if they don't win 9 games and they're not in the hunt the last few weeks, I think they're done.
Well, what about a couple games into the season?
Oh no, I don't think so. I think Stefanski gets at least halfway through, unless it's a complete disaster.
Mm-hmm.
If they're if they start out 0-2 and they got humiliated, and then the bye week, I don't know, the bye week's like the 3rd or 4th week. It's pretty early. It might be the 4th week. If you're humiliated the first few weeks, then I guess it could happen, but I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he'll probably make the season unless it goes really bad. Mm-hmm. If they win less than 9 games, I think he's probably gone.
Mm.
I think they're a 9-8 roster. I think they're a 10-7 roster. I don't think they're great. The Bengals, I think, are the best team in the division if Joe Burrow's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Browns and the Ravens are very similar, record-wise. I think they'll probably finish around. I don't think the Steelers aren't going to be good yet.
Mm.
They have too many things. That they're still not ready to begin, and their defense isn't good. So, and if their defense isn't good,
so we're gonna go ahead, Tim. Sorry, we were both frozen for a hot second.
Pittsburgh's nothing if their defense isn't good, and last year it wasn't good, but Watt missed a lot of the year,
and they were still able to have a winning season.
So yeah, but I still think the Browns have a better roster than they do.
Mm-hmm. Yes. All right, Tim, we're going to do a really quick break because we got 10 minutes of the show left. It passes so fast. So we got to give a score update too to the Guardians, see if they have a score yet. So we're going to take another quick break. You've been listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
Attention business owners and entrepreneurs.
Yeah, they're up 2-0.
Sell car business. To learn more about businesses
Olivia Hughes, and I'm the Business Development Intern from John Carroll University.
And I'm Markeisha Burns, the Business Development Manager. We are the Burton Bell Carr Business Development Team.
We provide resources, tools, and opportunities for businesses, as well as empowering communities, one project at a time.
Our team understands the challenges that business owners face every day. Need help starting a business or growing your customers? Our team is here to provide you with the support and expertise that you need for you and your business to thrive.
But it doesn't stop there. We empower you with the knowledge and skills needed to navigate the ever-changing business landscape. Our workshops, webinars, and mentoring sessions will keep you at the forefront of industry trends.
Let us be your trusted partner on this journey. Together, we'll transform your aspirations into reality, turning your business dreams into tangible achievements.
Your business needs to be everybody's business. Call us today at 216-341-1455. That's 216-341-1455. I'm Markeisha.
I'm Olivia.
And I'm DePaul. Call us at 216-341-1455.
We are the Burton Bell Carr Business Development Team.
Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. This is your girl Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports, and I have Tim Shaw with me here today, guest co-hosting with me. So super excited to have him on. I remember he came on during the Cavs season. We talked some Cavs. We talked a lot of Guardians today. We're talking a little NFL right now, and give you a quick score update. It looks like the Guardians are up 2-0 in the top of the first inning. So they were able to strike quickly. So that is a lead that they're going to have to hold. Unfortunately, they were not able to hold some leads on Saturday. They gave up a lead. So hopefully they can keep this going and keep this strong. So they're up 2-0 at the top of the first. And hey, Mike Hughes, we see you out there. No Brandy today. I'm sorry, your queen is not here. So Mike loves my co-host that is here on Tuesdays. We got Timmy though. Timmy in the house. You can love Timmy just as much as you love Brandy.
I doubt it.
So yeah. So and then Tim loves the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So
Right.
Really quickly, what do you think Baker Mayfield is going to be able to do for your team this season?
Well, we'll see. I think that I think I don't want to say he got a raw deal here, but it was a rough ending here, and he brought on some of that himself. And I think I think he's learned from that. But I think it's a fair competition there between him and Kyle Trask, and they really believe in Kyle Trask. They really
Where
do.
did Kyle Trask play at? I forgot. Was he in the
Florida.
Big Ten? Oh,
Florida,
okay.
yeah, and he didn't have a problem waiting behind Tom Brady. His whole life, he waited behind quarterbacks, and in high school and in college. So he didn't have a problem with that. I think, I don't know who's going to win the job, but I feel like, and this is crazy, when I mentioned it before the show, I feel like no matter who their starter is, they're better off this year than they were with Tom Brady last year because he was done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you could tell he was done. So Mike did say he did love you, Tim, but not as much as Brandy. That's impossible. And he said, pray for underdog story with him and Brandy for all of 2024. He said he thinks he has a better shot with Brandy than Baker does keeping the starting job.
Okay, we'll see. Well, yeah, I don't think he's long term anyway. So yeah, so that could be. We'll find out. But as always,
what's up, Jay Ness? We see you there.
As I always tell my son and people who, when we talk about the Browns, people a lot of times think I don't root for the Browns, but I do, because the last 2 times the Browns have made the playoffs, the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay.
So I want the Browns to make the playoffs.
That's a correlation. I'll take that, even if we don't win, just to, be able to sniff the playoffs again. I
Yes,
still think we should have been able to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, because remember what Odell was like, don't be surprised if they beat them. We almost did, if that
we did.
targeting call wasn't taken away, who knows what would have happened with that game. But really quickly, we only got about 4 minutes left. What do you think about this AP top 25, where you have Georgia number 1, you have Michigan number 2, you have Ohio State number 3, you had Alabama number 4, and let me see who we have at number 5. You have LSU at number 5. Any chance you think that Georgia repeats as a national champion again?
No,
I don't think so either.
I don't think so. You know, they, they are in the SEC, and the committee and the pollsters seem to love the SEC, so that helps them. But I don't think they repeat. No, I think that I feel like Ohio State's going to have a good year. I can't believe Michigan's ahead of them in the poll, but they seem to love Michigan too. For some reason, they seem to love Michigan.
I'll give it to Michigan. One of our producers here is a huge Michigan fan, and I'll give Michigan. One of the things is they're doing is they're coming in, they're stealing a lot of Ohio kids, so they are getting some good signees and stuff like that. So they are improving their team overall, and unfortunately they're getting good Ohio kids who are
Yeah.
defecting. But one of the things is obviously their defense has been pretty good. It's contained Ohio State, so their season, nobody really cares what they do, and all that matters is when they get to that Ohio State game. So is this the last year before the playoffs are expanded? Is this the last year?
I think so. I think it is, right? I think they're going to expand them next year.
Okay, yeah, that Ohio State and Michigan will mean something, because I don't think it'll really mean something next year. I think that'll be taken away. Well, it'll always mean something to us, but in the
Yeah.
grand scheme of things, when it comes to making the college football playoffs, that game really doesn't mean anything anymore because it's expanded. So, but yeah, I can see how Michigan could be number 2, but do I think that they'll be able to stay number 2? I don't know. It just all depends on what they're able to do against other teams, and they had some close victories. That game against Illinois, it came down to the wire, and they were able to do that. So Mike says the Baker Hulu Live Sports Buccaneers. Does Baker do Hulu commercials anymore?
I don't think so. I haven't seen them.
Okay, they probably dropped them. Progressive dropped them, that's for sure.
Yeah, he fell off the map endorsement wise.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think Georgia's going to repeat. I think Ohio State is going to have a great year. Alabama, I hate Alabama, so I don't really care what they do. And that second to last game of the year is always a sorry team. So that's Alabama, and LSU could be very interesting. So these rankings will be completely different at the end of the year, and we shall see. I don't, we don't have enough time to go through the rest of the top 25, but
the rankings at the beginning of the year are very rarely the same at the end. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And one thing I hope Georgia tumbles pretty quickly in the year, because Ohio State should have beat them last year and should have been the national champions. So I'm hoping that they tumble pretty quickly. Well, Tim, that's our time. I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. And you always have an open invitation to come on at any time. And you've been listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We are out of here. Thank you so much, Tim.
Yeah, anytime.
Okay,
anytime
good.
I'm available if I don't have something going on. Yeah, anytime you need me on.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Huh?
Okay. All right. So I'll talk to you soon. Go Guards.
Okay. Yes. Go Guards.
Okay. Thanks, Tom. Bye.
Okay, thanks, bye.
George, you are right about that. It's not about TTN. AP voters love Harbaugh. They think he's a magic man and can't do anything wrong. You are right about that. Bye, everybody. Love you. Thanks for watching.